This is going to be a complete rebuild.
What?
There is, I think there's pieces of the turbo in here.
Oh, come on.
Hey everybody, and welcome back. Today we're going to start tearing down the engine.
Whoa. All clear? Hey, it's all clear. Just clear oil.
I think we're okay. No, let me see. No, this is going to be a complete rebuild.
What?
There is, I think there's pieces of the turbo in here.
Oh, come on. Complete rebuild?
Oh, that's fine. Easy enough. It just means we'll be able to put higher performance parts in it so that later on we can give it some more juice. But for right now, we can get rebuilt with probably a 600 horsepower kit so that we've got room to move. Okay, well, that wasn't what I was hoping to see.
I was hoping to not see that.
Yeah, me too. So here's our issue. As you can see right here, we got some little pieces of metal that we found in the oil pickup tube. I'm willing to bet that those are pieces of the turbo because this car has had 2 turbos explode on it. So the oil that goes through the turbo goes right down into the oil pan again. Fortunately, these larger pieces here were blocked by the screen in the oil pickup, but I'm betting there's enough little stuff that went down in there too that we're gonna
Do a full engine rebuild.
Yep, we're gonna go through the entire engine. So it's gonna come down to the block, right down to the entire block. We're going to get the whole thing torn down. We'll get the pistons taken out. We'll get the rods, the crankshaft, everything. It'll be a bare block. We'll split that block wide open. And we'll have the machine shop go through it, make sure that we get it ball honed if that's as little as we can do, because I don't want to bore it over if I don't have to.
And also, all this would be shiny until we cover it with oil.
Yep, so hopefully they'll be able to clean that up. The color on this engine makes me think that it's had some heat put to it. There's a lot of burnt oil stain in there. So hopefully we don't have any issues with the cylinders needing to be bored, and it's just going to be a simple ball hone and a tank cleaning. So we'll keep on tearing it apart. Next, I think we're going to be taking off the timing cover, get the balancer off, get the timing set out of it so that we can get the heads off of it. We'll be taking the oil cooler off, and we'll just keep on tearing it down. The really important things to do when you are tearing down the engine is to make sure you have the right tools for the job. In the case that we're going to be dealing with today, we're going to start taking the timing belts and the cam gears off the engine. Subaru has a very special kind of variable cam timing sprockets. They're a little delicate. One of the deals with them is it takes a special tool on the intake cam and then a totally different special tool on the exhaust cam. So to start things off, what we have is 10 millimeter hex head for the cam sprocket bolts. You see that right there. The next thing that we have to grab is, as you can see here, there's these little notches in the variable valve timing. And then there's also these sawtooth notches on the exhaust cam timing sprocket. Each one of those takes a different tool. Gideon's got both of them in his hands. The first tool, this is for the intake valves. The tools do fit on the cam sprocket in a specific way. So as you can see on this one, it fits just one way, just like so. So when you get on it, you can stick your 10 millimeter hex in between it, and then that gives you the torque that you need to get that bolt out of there. Some of these bolts can be super difficult to get out of there. Sometimes you need a lot more leverage. You'll see some videos out there that say that you can just use the old timing belt, wrap around a couple of the gears, and then use the vice grips to tighten it down that way, and then use that as your brake in order to take these cam bolts out. Don't do that. It's not good practice. There are items within the cam itself that if you're reefing on that, it can shear those items. It can make the springs stick inside the timing gears. And when you run into that, do I spend $50 on each of these tools, and have $100 worth of tools to start out with that I can use anytime I do another EJ engine, which is probably going to be a lot for us because we really like the Subarus? Or do I want to take the chance of having to spend $200 on one of the sprockets? I personally would rather spend the $100 and have a tool that I can use over and over again. Or if that's not the case for you, you spend $100 on the tools, then you turn around and sell them on eBay for almost as much. The exhaust one that we got right here was a used one. We picked it up for $40 instead of $50. So even though the person got a little bit of use out of it, they were still able to recoup 80% of their costs back. So just do yourself a big favor and make sure that you're using the right tool to take these things apart. So now that we got the tools here, we're going to go ahead and get started and show you how we're going to be taking the timing off, and we'll probably start taking the heads off today too. Okay, very important when you're doing the timing before you even start. Make sure that you are top dead center on the engine, and the way that you check that, you can see that the mark there on the crank is straight up and down. And then when you come over here and you check the cams themselves, you can see that single mark right there. Yep. And show them the notch up top. Should line up with this notch in the plastic up here. So you can see the notch right there. There we go. Needs to line up with that single one. You do not want it lining up with the doubles. You want it lining up with the single. Same thing on your exhaust cams. You can see the mark right there. You want that lining up with the single mark here. Again, this one has a double mark on it as well. Up here, you want the double lining with the double and the single on the single.
Do that one last.
Okay. Okay, you want me to loosen them and then you can get them out?
No, it's okay.
Whoa, look at that.
Just leverage.
Yeah.
Leverage is your best way of getting bolts off.
Yes, it is.
There we go.
Okay.
Arms loosened. Oh. Hey, I got the bolt with it. Whoa. There it falls. Right down there.
Okay, let's take a look at that bearing real quick.
I'll be loosening the others.
Okay. It's a good thing that we were changing out this timing. This timing pulley, whatever you want to call it, is bad. So here's how you can tell whether you have a good one or a bad one. You hold the shaft of the bearing like so, and then you go to spin it. See how easily that spins?
You want it to go hard.
You want it to be a little stiff. That's right, Gideon. This tells me that there is no more lubrication in that bearing, and because of that, this could have failed at any second. So the last thing we want to do when we put thousands of dollars into a built engine is to have one of these fail, because it'll take the whole engine out. So there's a bad one. Dodging a bullet here. Hey everybody, sorry it's taken us so long to get this video done. We've been having some technical difficulties. We lost a bunch of video footage because the camera that we've been using has been glitching out on us. Hasn't been finishing off the video. So as you can see, we've already got the heads off of it. Unfortunately, we did lose all of the video footage from removing the heads. However, we did come up with reason number 2 for the full rebuild. And what is that reason?
Blown head gasket.
That is correct. We have a blown head gasket.
Right.
You can see all the rust on just in that one spot, and you can see you got rust right there on that portion of the piston. That's because the head gasket was letting a little bit of the coolant in through, and it went down the edge of the cylinder wall and started it rusting over the last couple of years that it's been sitting. At the same time, when we were taking the heads off, we came up with reason number 3 for doing a full rebuild as well. But we're gonna have to take you inside for that one down in the basement where we've got the heads partially torn down, and we'll show you into reason number 3. Okay, you can see here we have our little engine station down in the basement. Yeah. So we've got the heads out, as you can see. We got the buckets off the valves. We've already mic'd them and got our new readings for each one of the buckets, which you can see over here in our valve tray. It's kind of hard to see with the lighting down here. You can see we've got one of our valves already out. So here comes reason number 3 for a full rebuild of the engine.
Here is our stuck valve.
Yes, we have a stuck intake valve. So something tells me that this engine was running real bad when they pulled it. There's probably no compression. Well, I guarantee there was no compression in that cylinder with the intake valve stuck open. All right, everybody. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode. So we've got 3 really good reasons for why we're doing a full rebuild on this. We got the turbo parts in the oil pan, which we don't know how far they made it into the engine yet. We also have the head gasket that was blown. And then now we also have the stuck valve. So this next episode will be taking on the short block disassembly and getting everything down to the machine shop. So if you like what you've seen so far, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can make sure that you get notification when we have another episode out. Make sure you hit that like button if you like the video. And feel free to leave a comment for us. You know, if we're doing something wrong, if there's something better that we can be doing, let us know what you think. We'll catch you later.